Hi, Trina right here, and it is day 41 of 365 days of realizations. I am out, look at in the sunshine, playing with my inner being. So today I've been having some realizations. This relationship with my inner being is the most important thing to me. It is the basis of everything. It's the foundation of everything. It's the basis of the epic relationships that I have with both of my daughters, where we can be authentic and talk about things, and where my 16-year-old wants to bring like all kinds of cool stuff to me and talk to me about it, and where I really get to witness her awakening, and where my 12-year-old is a little more in that space of like, I need to find things that are just mine, but still I have her. Like, I just know it, and that's part of my creation, and it's part of the strength that comes from me having this relationship with my inner being, so that I'm not looking to my children in essence to make me happy. I'm not looking at anything that they do to be the thing that takes me to happiness. Instead, I know that it comes solely from me, inside of me, and through this epic dancing that I'm doing with my inner being. And the same thing with my partner. He gets to be off the hook. I don't need him to take care of me. I don't need him to do things with me or say things to me or be any kind of certain way. He just gets to be free. And it all started by this just developing and then being in. I mean, it's not enough to just develop the relationship with your inner being. It's like being in it full on, as if it is a relationship. Treat it with the respect and time and presence that it deserves. And so today I was playing again in this idea about thoughts. So if it's vibration first, which is what it seems like to me, that there's a vibration that is just at the heart of everything, like everything that we see all the way around us, including the sun, including the trees, including me and you. And if you're in your house, then whatever you're sitting on and the things around you, your house itself, is all just made out of vibration. And we know this. So if everything is just vibration, then everything is constantly emanating a vibration. So wouldn't it be the same that we're emanating a vibration? And isn't that where our awareness can come in? So I want to live a conscious, awake life in union with my inner being as much as possible, focusing on my alignment as the major thing of my life, the sort of love affair of this life with my inner being. So in doing that, I am working on, indirectly, but also directly, this vibration that I am then emanating. So where is my vibration emanating from? It's coming from truth. It's coming from the fullness of who I really am, knowing that 100%, knowing that I am energy, knowing that I'm much, much more than just this person, this physical body and this physical environment. I came here for the fun of it, to play in it, and I'm definitely going to milk it and enjoy every single aspect of it, but it doesn't define me. It's not who I am. I'm not defined by my relationships. I'm not defined by any of the stuff I have, the car I drive, the clothes I wear, the way I do my hair, even the thoughts and words that come out of my mouth, the beliefs I have. Those things don't define me, because I know that I am an epic being of love and light. Though some of those other things are fun to play with and engage with as we navigate our way through this physical world, for no other reason than to be the epic creators that we are, to figure out how to fine tune our creations and to have it come from the highest, deepest, most visceral, source-based expression that we can, I guess is the way that I would say it. So in that, back to the thought thing. So vibration first, and then from vibration, it seems to me that the vibration that we're emanating attracts thoughts to us. And it may appear that we're actually thinking those thoughts, but in all truth of it, the thought is sort of, like I said, a different day. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, but the thought is even a more crystallized version of what was simply just vibration, sort of this invisible energy that, because we don't see it, doesn't really get the noticing and the credibility that it really should have in this society. So we're one step ahead of the game because we already know that that's there. So thoughts are attracted to us because of the fact that we are vibrating. So we put out a vibration, the vibration finds things that it matches, sort of pulls them back to us, and they sort of cycle us. So a couple things that I then had a recognition of. So why is it that when we think of something we desire, or something that we want to move towards, a way that we want to expand, why is it that it's harder to think thoughts that are outside of this sort of norm? Like, my husband trades the stock market. So for him to think a thought like, I'm going to win big today, and it's, he's going to do one little trade and it's going to bring in $1 million, like, let's just say, So that thought, I know for him and for most people would be too big of a thought. It's too big of a belief to believe. Like his beliefs couldn't allow that to happen, even if his vibration could, because it's just way, way, way too big. And I picked it on purpose. So why is that? Well, it's simply because there's a lot of momentum cycling around a lot of those thoughts. And so our vibration bumps up against it and we pick up pieces of it. So there's a quickness to it. And it's comfortable. It's comfortable to think the thoughts we always think because we're sort of used to the vibration, kind of like putting on a comfy sweater or getting under the blankets when you're cold, or how many, many people stay in a relationship that they know is not the best relationship for them. They feel a little bit like they settled, but they're staying in that relationship because it feels comfortable. It feels comfortable because they know the ins and outs of it. They know what to expect from that person. They know what they're getting into. I see the sun is moving, so it's shining more in my face. Sorry. So I think that helps explain when you have a really profound new thought that's really stretching, why it's not as easy to move quickly into that thought. So then we choose some smaller thoughts that are incremental, but still having this recognition that vibrationally speaking, we've danced in the vibration of the normalcy or what is considered the limitations, the lackfulness that we all sort of have been exposed to. So those thoughts are still kind of running in amidst everything. So then I was thinking about, how does my inner being think? My inner being clearly vibrates, and I love playing that game, which we've played a couple different times before. Like if your inner being could think thoughts, what thoughts would your inner being be thinking at any given time? So just randomly, like maybe your inner being is just like being, what would the thoughts be? I think that's a cool exercise to do, to write them all down and just tune into them. Like, everything is perfect. Everything is beautiful. I'm so excited that Trina has gone into the leading edge to play in the physical so that I can live viscerally through her and have those delicious experiences of when her and I flow together and line up. And I love the things that have been manifested in that physical place, like the intricacy and imaginativeness of all the different things that flow into the experience, like the sunset and the beautiful blue sky and the trees and creations like art and music and all those things that are sort of emanations of that physicality. And then also, everything is perfect in the sense that where vibration lives, in essence, where source is, it is all perfect. So she's in that. So that's the sort of what she's embodied in. So I'm not sure that inner beings think, but that's a fun game to play. But then I was thinking, okay, so if she doesn't think, then it's a vibration. So source itself emanates a vibration, and a vibration of joy, a vibration of pure, pristine love, and unconditionality, of invincibility, indestructibility, possibility. And when source itself holds the energy of manifesting itself into a physical plane, it is filled with infinite possibility. Like anything is up for grabs. Anything is possible. Anything is plausible. Anything is manifestable, so to speak. So then I was going, okay, what would it be like to then play another game with myself where I just simply tuned into the vibration of my inner being, source, and I matched that. I want to line up with and emanate that. So the starting point for that is, what does that feel like? Like, how many times in our life have we actually had that as an experience? Because again, we have a lot of momentum going around, looking outside of ourselves and taking our cues from what's going on outside, and not as much directive about what's going on inside. And what does that mean? Like, okay, I get it. Philosophically, I have this inner being, this like part of me that didn't take the leap and didn't come forward, that's holding sort of the light on, shining the path for me. But what does that feel like when I'm in that fullest resonance? And I think that that's a really key point, to have a touch point for what that feels like. So to start, I would say that I have found, just going into a time when I just felt like that joy, that like visceral, blissed out joy. And I know a while ago when I first was practicing this, it really was linked to an experience. Like, that's all that I had access to, was like an experience, being pregnant and getting ready to give birth to one of my children, or the first time that I looked into their eyes or picked up that tiny little baby. And I just felt this like outside of my, like beyond this physical realm, beyond that moment, this like connectiveness, this oneness, this sometimes when I look in my baby's eyes, or your little child laughs at you or giggles, or, you know, you just lose yourself in some of those experiences. Sometimes it's you're doing a project like some kind of art, or you're dancing and you just kind of lose yourself in it. So it's, oh, or you're like your significant other, you know, says some really awesome thing to you that triggers it. Because often in the beginning, it is that we have forgotten about what alignment is. We've forgotten we have an inner being. And so most of the first experiences that we have that we would call alignment that then drive us, because we yearn for more of them, come from an experience like that. As something outside of us in the environment triggered that experience of alignment, and we just felt the bliss, we felt the joy. And then often what happens, especially in a relationship, is we think that he or she gave it to us, so we think it's them, and then that's why we want to be in a relationship with them, because they think they're going to give us that feeling. But the feeling was just activated. It already lived in us. It wasn't something we got from them. So that's the first noticing I have. The second noticing I have is then moving into an experience that you've had with yourself, where you were just with yourself, but you had that same feeling. And again, it could be something like doing art or dancing or meditating, or just when is an experience, like, I mean, off the hook, like the best you've ever felt in your entire life, like the best feeling, the best time, the best sort of blissed out. So start with whatever comes up as your best. And if it involves an experience or a circumstance, that's okay. Like maybe you won a small thing in the lotto, or you played the slots machines in Vegas and you won, or, you know, the boy you liked or girl you liked you back, or, you know, whatever, you've had a baby and saw the baby's face and picked it up and all that stuff. Like any of those are perfectly fine too, whatever is the highest that you found. And then tune in and see if you also have any type of high one that's with beyond that, that's just with you. And I think that's a really good starting point to just have a taste of what it feels like to have that full-on union. Because I think there's a lot of people, a lot of us sort of walking around going, well, I want alignment, I'm going to get in alignment. And we think, and it is true, that when you feel good, you're in alignment. There's no doubt that that's true. Whenever you feel good, you're in alignment. And when you don't feel good, you're not in alignment. Any of the emotions that are sort of the top part of the spectrum, hope, expectancy, eagerness, enthusiasm, excitement, joy, bliss, like all of those represent that. So that is true that we're in alignment. And when you feel anything below hope, like sort of frustration, anger, overwhelmment, sadness, despair, blah, 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 those things are meaning you're not in alignment. But deeper speaking than that, what is the feeling of like being full on with my inner being? Because when you can tune into that feeling, then you can tune into the vibration that your inner being emanates, and you can tune into the idea of the thoughts. So anyway, play with this. It might be fun to just start with the thought exercise and then move into the like, what is the highest I've ever felt, and what was I doing, so that you can tap into that feeling more. And what would it take to choose consciously to recreate that feeling with yourself? Use whatever it takes to get you there, but to just you consciously close your eyes. Maybe you imagine being back in that same experience, but you use it as the leaping off point to get you back in that feeling, so you can really feel like, when I'm the fullest I could possibly be, the highest alignment that I could reach for right now, what does that feel like? So I've talked a long time, and I'm going to leave you with that. And have fun with those. They're just games, fun to play, and I will catch you tomorrow. Bye.